You know what brings me the most fulfillment, and I can imagine others can relate to this, is doing things that your younger self would have wanted you to do. For me, it was doing a yeah, I mean, doing things that your younger self kind of wanted you to do, whether it was when you're really young, whether you're in your early teens or whatever. That's kind of for me. It was early high school to yeah, about high school, the high school phase where I was kind of envisioning what I wanted to do, and really that's what it was, man. I'm speaking from my perspectives here, but for me, that stuff was incorporating learning a language, which I didn't really think too much of, but I was like, it'd be cool to learn a language. Now in a position where learning Spanish and Korean, and now actively incorporating that into my my everyday content that I post, from whether it's the music or the motivational style, the motivational stuff, motivational mindset stuff, and overall implementing it and working it into, you know, building out Caden's world, and, working on my own stuff, and just incorporating that stuff into, whether it's in communication too. It's really cool. And then outside of that too, even I had to take notes here, bro, because I wanted to make sure I said certain things. But yeah, and having a comic webtoon type style series, that stuff too. Because when I was looking at it a few years back, I was saying, this stuff would be really cool to actually have and do. And it's really cool now looking at it to say we're continuing to grow, and we're moving into new phases where we can develop this stuff more. But as it's always cool looking at it from where you were years ago and saying, I'm actually doing the stuff now that I I was envisioning. We're actively doing these things, because many times around you see people that say, or people that you knew saying that they want to do X, Y, and Z, and people's goals change, right? People's goals change. That's normal. That's normal. So like I said, I'm speaking from my perspective here, but it's cool. It's always cool, man, looking at stuff that you said you wanted to do, and you're actually actively doing that now. And then even next year, planning to move into a nice, keeping this vehicle, but moving into a nicer one too. That thing too, man. That thing too. Being in a position now where I can actually afford the original, one of the original dream cars that I had. Haven't moved on to that. I actually moved on to something else for different reasons, and I've mentioned it before. But being in a position to even afford that now is really nice too. And now making that decision of what's actually better for me to use to leverage in my position right now, from a business standpoint, but and a personal standpoint too. But it's nice. It feels good, man. It feels good. And also reminding yourself, now is not the time to, now we're doing a lot of those things that we were wanting to do, but now it's time to keep it moving and see where, and keep it moving and go to where you want to go, basically where you plan to go. And that's really what it is, man. Overall, it's nice seeing that things are moving in that direction, and I'm, at least at the very least, doing things that I was envisioning earlier. Not everything, but in time, those stuff happen, and those stuff will come in place too. But it's great to think about that too, and I'm sure others can relate to that too. I'd imagine we've all had those moments where you're saying, "Dang, I'm actually doing some of the stuff that I was saying years ago. This would be cool to do, and I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I started to make a plan, or I just started it, and we're here now." Those two specifically, Korean and Spanish, incorporating that into the business overall. I was telling people I was going to be doing that from years ago, and we're real life doing it into the music too. Real life doing it. I think that the music that I'm about to record and put out is really the best manifestation. I don't even like that word either. I don't like that word as much, but I feel like I think that's a perfect manifestation of that. And building out a world for a digital character, counterpart character, and connecting connecting my real life things that are going on to a digital world, and making it all cohesive. That's cool. Those are probably the two things that I would say I take the most pride in. Being able to actually do something, as far as not learning just a language, but two languages on top of that, on top of English, that's my native language. And then even further immersing myself in some of my own history, with my parents being Jamaican, and familiarizing myself even with patois and everything there. And it's great, bro. It's great. It's stuff that you can take pride in outside of other stuff. But primarily those two things, man: languages, and building out a digital character and having his own world.